Let's also talk about the tractor industry. Escorts posted a weak set of Q4 earnings in line with what was expected. The revenues are down 16%, margins have contracted. Both the tractor and the construction volumes are under pressure in Q4, and only the railway segment has done well. Bharat Madan, who's the Group Chief Financial Officer at Escorts, joins us now to talk about that. Mr. Madan, good morning and thanks for joining in. The tractor business was under a lot of pressure in Q4, but give us an outlook on what Q1 and Q2 could look like.
Hi, good morning, Sonia. I think you're seeing, obviously the last 4-5 months have been bad, especially after the festival season. I think the industry had started going down. The last 6 months of this last fiscal saw 19% growth in the industry compared to 10% growth in the first half. But things have started looking up now. I think as you were seeing the numbers in the April month, I think the industry has grown 41% this time. So we are very hopeful. I think the many factors which are positive right now with the strong heat actually led to the early harvesting. So now there is indication of an early good monsoon is also positive. Because the sowing will start early. So you actually see very good numbers coming in the month of May and June. So the first quarter will actually be better. So we are hopeful. I think first half should look good for the industry.
Okay, so indications of a good monsoon, good harvest season is something that could perhaps spur tractor demand, you say, and things have started improving. So you want to give us an outlook on what FY23 could look like? I remember in FY22 you scaled down the industry guidance because of the challenges, but what kind of growth are we looking at in FY23?
So like I said, so we're starting with a good note. So April has been a good month, and we expect I think this quarter will actually show double-digit growth. But I think we'll rather wait for the monsoon to come and see how the distribution really happens. Because the initial indication of the initial beginning of the monsoon will be pretty good. The sowing will happen. The later part of the monsoon probably will be seed. So that's I think maybe the tough worry. So we'll have to really wait and watch. But generally we expect the industry should actually grow this year compared to the last year.
Okay. Mr. Madan, good morning. With Kubota's takeover, how are things going to change at Escorts in terms of the culture, in terms of how things work? Are things going to change?
Definitely, I think the idea of this partnership was to look for a change, and the idea was to bring in the best of both the partners, in the company. So this will lead to some cultural transformation also for the company as a whole. So it will not be really Japanese culture or totally Indian culture. That's a mixed culture which will evolve. So I think both the teams are working together really, in setting up the roadmap, for the future. So definitely, I think in a few months' time, we'll come back to the market and tell them, what the company is expecting to do in the medium term.
Mr. Madan, good morning. The economist from Citi this morning is essentially saying in a note that the rural demand recovery could be at risk if the government's priority from here out is controlling inflation. We've seen wheat exports being banned. That was being cited as reason for more money in the hands of the rural folk. And if this continues, maybe MSP hikes, etc., could also be very modest. Any thoughts on this? Go on.
Yeah, inflation has been a bit of concern, obviously, I think for everyone across the industry. So the tractor industry is no different. And we have taken 5 price increases in the last 6 quarters. So you can imagine the kind of inflation we've seen. And it's more steep in the last quarter. So the sector which actually is still to come. So I think I'm sure there'll be issues. So I think if this government, right now, I think the prices in the market are holding up. So definitely, I think the government party has been to really meet the domestic demand first, which will lead to this ban on the exports. But generally, if you look at the market across all crops, the prices are holding above the MSP level. So in the short term, looking at the current global geopolitical situation, I think next 5-6 months looks like comfortable in the pricing for the market for the agri commodities. Yes, second half may be a challenge. We'll have to see how the situation improves closely and how the things will improve.
Right.
No, for the short term, we are hopeful.
Yeah, beyond the short term, because there is the issue of price now, and as we've been reading across over the last month or so, yields have also dropped, right, because of heat wave, etc. So production is down, and now there are prices which perhaps are under some pressure as well. So you don't expect any demand hit at all?
Not in the immediate term. So like you mentioned, because right now we see a positive momentum. I think yet there are certain states where the yield have got impacted, including state like Haryana, 20-30% drop is happening because of the high heat waves. So the grain quality has slightly deteriorated. But generally, I think across the market, we see still a positive momentum. So, like I said, so we'll have to really wait and watch to see how situations evolve globally and how the commodity price moves across the world in the markets.
Sir, we can't hear you very well. If you can just speak up a little bit. Wanted to understand what is the market share right now that Escorts enjoys, and has it gone up or down compared to, say, 2 quarters ago?
So last quarter we improved the market share about 1% sequentially. So against Q3, Q4 has been better, and the March actually the market share was close to 30%. But that has been the historical trend. But if you look at the full year basis, there will be some growth because essentially a stronger market in the north did not do well, and this time we're seeing the good momentum happening in those markets, so which is why we are quite optimistic that this will actually be a good year for Escorts.
Sorry, what did you say the market share was at the end of FY22?
So FY22 we are roughly at 10.3% in which 4%, but in Q4 the share had improved to 11.4%.
Okay, all right. And any more price hikes that you will have to take to pass on? I heard you say about 5-6 price hikes has already been taken, but any more that you'll have to take to pass on the commodity costs?
Yeah, so we expect another price hike should happen now, I think, in the coming quarter, in Q2, and maybe look at the quantum of inflation. If the price don't stabilize, then maybe we'll look at really more increases in the balance of the year.
Okay. Just one final question. I mean, the stock is reacting to the fact that you've said that there is a double-digit growth expected in the industry in the first quarter of this year. Would you extend that to the full year? Do you think that FY23 could be a comeback year for the industry with double-digit growth?
So we're not ruling out, but at the same time, like I said, I think we'll rather wait for this monsoon. Because the indication are the later part of the monsoon will not be good. So, but the initial part is going to be good strong. So I think we have to really see how the distribution of rainfall happens, especially in the rain-fed states, like Maharashtra or in the southern areas, which has seen very good demand in the last 2-3 years. So if the rainfall is good in those states, maybe you'll see a good recovery happening in second half. Otherwise, it can be the challenge. We'll rather wait that for guidance for the full year as of now and just see, I think, how the next 6 months go.
All right. Well, we'll take what we get. You can't give us the guidance, understandably, for the full year. But for the quarter, you're saying that the industry will see a double-digit growth and demand has picked up in a big way in the month of April. I guess that's echoing in the stock as well. The stock is now at the high point of trade, up 4.5%. A lot of upgrades have come in on Escorts as well in the past couple of weeks because of the expectation of a good monsoon this time around.